Imagine you're driving through the desolate wilderness of the US-Canada border. The fog is so thick you can't see your own hood. Suddenly, your brakes screech as a pair of glowing sapphire eyes appears in your headlights. Most people would drive on, calling it a stray. But for Mark and his family, stopping for those eyes was the difference between a normal vacation and a life-altering miracle. You see, the forest has a way of talking to those who listen, and that night, a tiny, shivering creature was about to lead them into a heart-pounding race against time. This isn't just a story of a rescue, it's a story about the hero you never expected. The morning had started with the crisp, golden air of Vermont. Mark, an architect, and Elena, a writer, had planned this road trip for months. Their children, 12-year-old Ethan, a budding photographer, and 8-year-old Olivia, whose heart was a magnet for every living thing, were packed into their SUV, heading toward the rugged beauty of Quebec, Canada. The highway was a ribbon of gray cutting through endless cathedrals of pine and fir. Laughter filled the car as Ethan captured the shifting landscapes on his lens, while Olivia sang to the rhythm of the tires. But as they climbed higher into the border mountains, the atmosphere shifted. The sun vanished, replaced by a sudden, suffocating blanket of white fog. The GPS signal began to stutter, and then died completely, leaving them in a silent gray world where the road seemed to disappear into nothingness. Then came the moment that changed everything. Mark slammed on the brakes, the car skidding slightly on the damp asphalt. Standing perfectly still in the center of the beam was a sleek, silver-gray cat. Her fur was drenched, clinging to her thin frame, but her eyes, a haunting, intelligent blue, held Mark's gaze.
"Dad, she's in trouble. We have to help."
Olivia's voice was a whisper, filled with a certainty that Mark couldn't ignore. Despite the biting cold and the creeping shadows of the woods, the family grabbed their heavy jackets and high-powered flashlights. They stepped off the safety of the pavement and into the deep, ancient silence of the Great North. The cat, whom Olivia immediately named Misty, was a ghost in the trees, leading them through thickets of thorn and over slippery, moss-covered logs. Every time they slowed down, Misty would circle back, nudging Mark's boots, her desperation palpable in the frantic twitch of her tail. After nearly an hour of trekking through the treacherous terrain, they reached a jagged ravine where an old, forgotten mine had partially collapsed under the weight of a recent rock slide. There, amidst the rubble, lay a heartbreaking sight. A larger black cat, Misty's mother, was pinned under a massive slab of granite, her breathing shallow. Beside her, huddled in a small gap, was a terrified, shivering fawn, its leg caught in the twisted debris. The air was dropping toward freezing, and a winter storm was brewing in the distance. The rescue was a test of raw human spirit. Mark and Ethan, fueled by adrenaline, used a fallen pine limb as a makeshift lever, straining against the cold stone. Elena and Olivia knelt in the mud, whispering words of comfort to the trapped animals, offering warmth from their own scarves. It was a battle of inches. With one final agonizing heave, the slab shifted. The mother cat, whom they called Shadow, scrambled out, immediately reaching for Misty in a silent, feline embrace. The fawn, too, was freed, limping slowly back into the darkness of the trees after a lingering look of gratitude that Ethan managed to capture on his camera, a shot that would later be shared millions of times across the globe. But the journey didn't end in the woods. Seeing the cats exhausted and shivering, Mark realized they couldn't leave them to the mercy of the coming blizzard. Misty and Shadow were tucked into the warm backseat, curled up against Olivia. When they finally crossed the Canadian border and reached their secluded cottage in Quebec, the cats didn't leave. They became the silent guardians of the house. In the days that followed, the local villagers watched in awe as the two cats followed the children through the snow, showing a level of intuition that seemed supernatural. Misty would alert Mark to a faulty heater in the middle of the night, and Shadow would sit by the window, watching the perimeter like a sentinel. As the family sat by the roaring fireplace on their final night, the Canadian snow piling high against the glass, they realized that this trip was never about the destination. It was about the moment they chose to stop. We often walk through life thinking we are the masters of the world, but sometimes it takes the silent plea of a creature with no voice to remind us of our own humanity. Mark looked at Misty, purring softly on his lap, and knew that while they had saved her life in the woods, she had saved their souls from the coldness of indifference. Kindness, they learned, is the only language that the whole world understands, even when it's whispered in the dark, under a canopy of freezing pines.